hi guys, and welcome to episode 9 of the Welsh Beast Show. And joining me today to talk about the latest Wrexham news, or the news and results, and just to get an insight in Wrexham's global appeal. How are they still appealing to global audiences, and how come they've sort of attracted such a big following outside the UK? Joining me is Josh Anthony from the Local Pundit. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Really a pleasure to be here. I know, we kind of crossed paths about a year ago, but I'm so happy to be on your show. Congrats, man. Thank you so much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
No problem. A good week for Wrexham, winning on a Tuesday, and a very comfortable win yesterday. What were your thoughts on that?
I think the team is starting to come together. I think the signings that we made have really made the difference, and it's almost like an evolution. We're watching like an evolution of the team mid-season, and Parkinson using the players and the depth coming back. It's really impressive. Smith's a good player. He's going to score a lot of goals for us. Yeah, I'm liking it.
Well, I think that's the idea, and a lot of the rumor is £2 million has been spent, which is a lot of money for Wrexham. It's a lot of money in that league in general. But, I mean, that's a lot of money for Wrexham, and he has to start. He has to deliver. He took his goal well.
He did. I thought the whole team, it looks like the team is like gelling on the fly, like it's on the job training, and they're all gelling together. And the earlier he gets off the mark, and he did yesterday, and even J-Rod, I think it'll totally improve the team, so it's exciting, man. I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing.
Well, again, a positive week. I know recently it's been quite a bad run, which we're all we do react too quickly, don't we? When it's a setback, we all get a bit too frustrated. We expect too much now, don't we? Because the team is so talented now. It's such a strong squad, and we're so close to getting a third promotion. Should we be finishing second? Are we the second best team? Is it there for the taking?
It is there for the taking. And we have some other we have some Birmingham City supporters to come on our show. We have other people that come on the Local Pundit, and I'm not going to anoint Birmingham City to the league, but they are obviously top of the league, and they're going to most likely win the league. But if we keep pushing and we keep going, I think second is ours. We have the quality and the depth and the manager and the staff to do so. But I'm going to be very bullish until it's over. I'm not going to just give the league away. But second seems more realistic. We do have that side to do it for sure.
It does, and I think we have to. You think on paper we're stronger than Wycombe. We've been very consistent. Losing their manager, I think, has had an impact because they are dropping a lot of points lately. But you'd expect us to be the second best team in the league, I think. Although Stockport are starting to make moves, they're getting a bit too close now. I think they could be a team to watch.
Yeah, Stockport do look great. The results below us didn't go in our favor. Above us, Wycombe did drop points with the draw, which is good. And you're right. There's some teams that if we go into the playoffs, obviously it's squeaky bum time all day. But my target is that second spot. I think everyone else is too. But will Wrexham do it easy, or will they make it hard? I don't know. But I feel like we have that depth to go and do it. 10 players coming in from Wycombe, and Stockport. They just kind of have a good squad there, and we got to watch out for it.
I'm talking of squads. Wrexham and Parky, he's really utilised the squad this week. I mean, he's made changes in the cup, which he always does on Tuesday. He's going with Howard at the moment in the league.
Yeah. Well, so that was my big surprise. I had said he was going to go to unchanged 11 from the previous game in the league. Howard, I think everyone kind of plays their part in certain ways. Like last year, we had players that were playing in the middle of the park that came in, JJ and things like. I think Howard coming in just gave us a nice, safe pair of hands and headiness about him. I do feel a little bit for AO. I don't know if it's a mental thing or if it's something like they were rumoring about his jaw. He ran into it. But Howard, to me, is just, his kicking is brilliant. I mean, the kick that he put through to Smitty yesterday was great, and he jumped on it. But he's doing the job for us. And it's like, okay, he's definitely not the long-term solution. Fair play, I'll say, I think Callum Burton was an all-around, huge miss for us too. But, having Howard back there is great. And AO will be the future 100%. And he's a great player too.
Yeah, well, he was like the number one, wasn't he? I think until the Scunthorpe defeat. That's when it looks like he's taken probably a bit of the responsibility there, which happened to Howard last year, I believe, at Stockport.
Yeah.
He seemed to get dropped all of a sudden after that 5-0 defeat.
Yeah, and I think Parkinson is one of the best. I don't care what anyone else says. Parkinson's one of the best man managers out there. Yeah. He has to be, because players are waiting in the wings for come. I think Brunty, who's come on very, very well. Scar, who's kind of not publicly said I'm waiting my opportunity to be there, but I think Parkinson and Parkin he's one of the best man managers of a team to keep a squad together like that, and it's not easy. It's not easy, especially all the pressure that we have on us and all the eyes that we have on us too.
And Peterborough in the semi-final at the racecourse. On paper, they should be winning that game. It's a favourable tie. Do you expect them to reach the final? And is he going to play a weakened team again and stick with the players he's used so far?
I think he's going to go that 75%. I wouldn't see an Ashfield in there. Maybe he'll be on the bench, but I think he should go for it. And I said this. I think he should go for it. At least get to the final. Because and listen, anything can happen. In a cup match, that anything can happen, any game. But if we get to the final and it's Birmingham City or Bradford City, the storyline's either way. Obviously, they want it to be us in Birmingham City. Yeah. But if we get there, we're playing against Wembley, and we don't make that second place automatic, and we get into the playoffs. It'll kind of win, lose, obviously, no draws. Obviously, it will help us out. I think mentally for the team. If we go into the playoffs and we have to go to the big stage again to go through it. So I think he's going to go for it and get the opportunity. Like I said, Parkinson has utilized the team very, very well, but I think he'll go for it.
And in January, there was pressure to go out and sign strikers, and then he's done that. It was a bit slow getting off the mark, as he always is. He left it quite late, but he delivered 2 very, very experienced strikers on slightly different times of their career, but they're going to bring individual stuff. They're going to bring their own part to the game, and he's bought them for a reason. Salson's goals and Rodriguez is probably link-up play.
Yeah. His Rodriguez hadn't scored, but you can see he's running the channels, allowing Smith to run the channels. He does remind me a little bit of Fletch. He's trying to do things that sometimes we're not on a same way, which is fine. I'm giving all those a pass, but bringing in an experienced 35-year-old player who's played in the Prem, who's played in the Championship, I think is like it's kind of a genius move. And on the same note, I feel bad for you never want to feel bad for Mulls and a Palmer who do jobs for us, but it's almost like it's changed the makeup of the team, dropping Big Al back into the midfield, but very, very clever and shrewd business too. And you're right, we did have to wait for it, and I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, I think those two will be the starting strikers now. I think those two are going to be his forwards of choice going forward. Can Mullin rediscover his form?
I mean, I'm going to say this, and we've been waiting all year for it. I talked to Mark Griffiths the other day, and he had a back injury, didn't have a preseason. I think, listen, we're fans, short for fanatic. I always say that. I think we need to give him a lot of latitude. Having a back injury, now it's shin injury. Players are coming in. I think now it's time to see, like, hey, if he's got to drop and be a supporting player, I think he'll do great in the training round and help the team out in the dressing room, which he's a true professional, and he'll always go. But will Mullin come good? I think there'll be 1 or 2 times this season we'll be like, yes, but will he be a starter? I don't think so. Barring anything, I don't think so. And that pains me to say because he's done so much for the club.
Yeah, and that will never be forgotten. But I think you can't be sentimental, can you? Really? I mean, you have to move forward. What he's done is tremendous, but I mean, have the injuries taken too much from him? But he's still got time at the club. He can still make a contribution, like you say, in other ways. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's too. I think that's part of what Parkinson does. He allows these players to make contributions in other ways, like just putting an arm over the shoulder of a Mo Fall who's not getting a lot from Fletcher. You know what I mean? So those things are important too. So it's very, very interesting. And Mullin we'll be screaming Mullin's name at some point this season, saying, "Yep." So we'll see.
Yeah, well, he scored that wonder goal, didn't he? Was it against Blackpool? Blackpool was it? I think.
Yeah.
Right about Christmas time, anyway. I was right behind that. That's where I sit. I was just right behind that fantastic goal. We thought that was the start of more. It didn't quite happen, but he's still got that ability.
He does. It's there. It's in him. But it's not like he's putting himself in bad positions. He hustles. The goal he had in the Virtue Trophy Cup, the assist that he had in the Virtue Trophy Cup to I think Aaron James in the header there. He got to the ball, put it back in. You see, he's getting into spots. It's just football, unlucky. You know what I mean? And I hate it's part of it. So if he wasn't getting into positions like that and hustling, I think it'd be a different story. But he's a legend either way. Legend.
He will always hustle. He will always put in a shift, and that's what's been impressive. His all-round game. He put himself about. He could score with every part of his body. He was all over the pitch. He was coming for it. He was dropping off, going to the wings. Such a great all-round player.
Yeah, all around. And a hustler, like you said, a hustler. Like he's never not hustling. Everyone's looking. I think what's funny. I think we're all kind of looking to see him like slow down. What's wrong with him? Because we're all just trying to figure out why he hasn't scored yet. But truth of the matter is, he is always going to wear it on his chest, go off with the badge, coach him ready to go. You know that, and I do feel for him, but but he is. If he'll start again, I'm not too sure, but there was a quote today that Parkinson said that he had trained well, but he just thought that JM and Fletch coming on the bench was a better fit. So I don't know if he's actually being true about that, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Well, I think he's got, he has to make big decisions, doesn't he? And I think he's capable of doing that, Parkinson.
Yeah.
So where did it all start for you, Josh, about Wrexham? When did you first discover Wrexham?
I've told this story before, but it means a lot to me to say that. So when I tell you the story, I don't know if you have heard it. So I've been a football supporter for a long time now. I've been a Rob McElhenney. I work in the film industry, and Rob's always been, for lack of a better word, a guy I look up to as an idol. And then when they got purchased, my eyes went, oh, Rob McElhenney is like literally living my dream. He bought a football club called Wrexham. And so I obviously took interest in that. The documentary was always fantastic. I appreciate it. But more importantly, I started getting more into it, into the club and into the town and everything. My cat, Salem, was going through a cancer treatment at the time. And so I was waking up in the mornings and he was having a rough time. I know I love our animals, and so we were watching the games together, and in the morning at 5 a.m. we wake up, and we live in Los Angeles. So started doing that and getting more invested in it. We'd sit here in the morning, and I have some of the best moments, I would say, with him before he passed, was watching Wrexham, learning more about the town, and just getting more infected with the love that is Wrexham. So it's kind of been a long journey, and I know everyone's like, oh, newfound international fans, which that's totally fine. But we share the same love as everyone that's supporting it since day one, if they were born in Wrexham. So that's kind of the origin story, you'd say, for following the club.
Yes, it's interesting you would say that Rob was the guy that got you interested, because you think most people, Ryan Reynolds is the more famous, the more successful on the whole. He's got a larger fan base. I'm sure he's brought a lot of people into the Wrexham world, and he's brought them along on this journey. So it's interesting you mentioned Rob.
Yeah.
So what's the feeling like around LA or in America in general? Is the fan base still growing?
Yeah, I think we are. I think we are literally still at the start of this story. I know it sounds, weird to say that, but we're still at the start of the story. I have Wrexham jerseys and kits and things like that, and people look around and they're like, oh, Wrexham. You can see that they're seeing it. Been to the Cosm, done live shows at the Cosm and meeting people there. Everyone flies down, drives in. I was at the Rex Coast tour over the summer. And its growth, it's great, and I think it's fantastic. And I also think the respect that it's not like international fans also like respect the fact that Wrexham is a small town and is still growing. And it's like, not to say they were first, but we're trying to adapt into the story as well, but not take it over. And I think that's very important. I'm very conscious of that too when I'm out in public and doing our shows and things like that, for sure. Which is great. I think it's fantastic.
But I think a lot of people, certainly I do, and I'm sure most Wrexham fans and people from Wrexham appreciate the international support, how we've reached this global fan base now, and how exciting it is, how interesting it is, and all the stuff that's going on. when did you set up the YouTube channel and social media accounts?
I think yeah, maybe 2.5 years ago, something like that. Maybe something along that. You know, like I said, I was watching it early, but then my wife, who helps me produce the show, she's like, why are you not just doing a show? And I was like, all right, fine, you know, and I did. And maybe about 2.5 years ago, and I've enjoyed every second of it, meeting people like yourself globally, which is amazing. But yeah, we did it about 2.5 years ago, and it was more just like, hey, why don't you just, if you love it so much, then, you know, do something about it. And that's where we started too.
Yeah, you're very, very active. You're very busy. You constantly put out content. You're always on everything, which is very, very impressive. And it's impressive that how many channels I've started, how many people are doing this stuff. I can't see another club with this much of an engaged fan base creating this content.
Yeah, I think. No, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Sorry, there's a hiccup there. I agree with you 100%. We I think the content creator fan base, whatever we want to call it, for Wrexham is different from everything else, because I think at the core values of what the town is about and what Rob and Ryan and Humphrey and everyone that's been involved in the club has instilled, I think is fawned over into you know, guys like yourself and myself and several of the channels, and we talk, you know, and it's not that banter of just like, I want to be better than you, I want to outdo you. I think there's a great amount of respect, especially coming from myself, you know, being an American and looking from afar. I think there's a great collaboration there, which is awesome. And I think you know, I think a lot of other content creators and people that love their team should think about it too, because that whole online you know, rift crap, it's just it's sophomoric.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there doing this stuff from all clubs. Like I said, but Wrexham just seems to have so many people. It's just fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating too. And you know, on our show we have you know, Patty who's in Europe, and then we have a guy in Australia, Ken, we have Aaron that's in Middle America. So I mean, we're just, you know, spreading it out, and like I said, it all kind of shapes from what you all have done and built in the last, you know, few years, following the club and getting things off the ground. So it's like we're all very grateful for that, for sure.
Which state in America, is there any particular state that's sort of bigger than the others, Wrexham fans? Is there anywhere that's not caught on yet, or is it across the entire country, East Coast, West Coast, or is it spread out?
We haven't hit the East Coast West Coast rivalry yet, but yeah, but it could happen. But it's I mean, I live in California. I went up and down you know, California with them, and this past in the Wrexham store, and every single stadium was excited about it. That said, when I was down in San Diego, it was Wrexham versus Manchester United when Paul Mullen got hurt. It was mostly Wrexham supporters there, and you know how big United is, and I was like, oh, this is shocking. Yeah.
Obviously, the Premier League will still be the big football competition, soccer competition out there globally. But is the lower leagues catching up now? Are Wrexham responsible for bringing the lower leagues to a newer audience?
I think that I think there's been a big mind's eye on it. Like, oh, okay, there's something more important. I think the Championship is the best league in the world, in my opinion. I love the Prem is the Prem, but the Championship is the toughest league. But Wrexham, I think, I mean, every Saturday morning or Sunday, whenever the game is on, Paramount Plus in the States has their games on, and you know, it's definitely growing. And I think we should. Someone needs to be a leader for that. If it's going to be Wrexham, own it and let's go and do it, because we have the ability to do that. And it doesn't. And I could probably say this too, and you probably know better than me. Other fan bases be like, oh, they want to slag off Wrexham or whatever it is, but someone needs to take a step forward. And if we can help out bringing more attention to the lower leagues, League One, League Two, Championship, I think that's super important. And let's own the torch, but we also got to win football games too at the same time. Yeah.
But there's always been a big American influence, certainly in recent years. A lot of American ownership of British football clubs.
Yep. Yeah, JK Watt,
Man United, Liverpool,
Burnley.
Yeah, you can look at Arsenal. Certainly the top clubs have all had American ownership or American investments in recent years. I think Aston Villa at one point.
Yeah. So, Chelsea as well, who the guy. Yeah. I mean, you could say what you want. Chelsea, I mean, they spend a crap ton of money, but yeah. Liverpool do has some investment there too, but the core of it is I think everyone is looking over to Europe because I'll say this, I'll get beat up for it in the States. The MLS isn't the best product, and it could be, and there's an opportunity there to do that. And it used to be a league where players in their mid-30s, late 30s would come over, and I think people and investors are looking over to Europe and they're saying, oh, wow, what a great product they have over there. And again, I'll go back. The Championship is an absolute, the best league, in my opinion, for the battle to top, battle at the bottom. It's great. And League One's not so bad either.
I think the Championship has a great mixture of clubs in there. Some very, very established clubs that have done well coming up through the divisions, and some clubs that have been relegated over the years and are quite famous clubs, quite strong. So that's that magic mixture, I think. It makes it interesting. And also the glory at the end of it is something that sort of motivates the teams, I think.
Yeah.
The risk factor.
There's also a mix of players, of older and younger players there too. You can see in our league as well, in League One right now, older and younger players, which is great because you're getting talent that's coming up and talent that can, again, like a Fletch, for a Mo Fall in our league for that matter, you can help them out and help them grow. And I think that's super important. And, but yeah, the America, I think as an American, someone who lived in Los Angeles, I look at those leagues and I've been following, football since 2004, 3, whatever the hell it was. I think it's growing, and there's no cap on where it can go. We have I think the World Cup coming in 26, and we also have the Club World Cup coming this year too, at some point.
Well, I remember USA '94.
Yeah,
I remember that. I think no British team qualified. Did Ireland? I don't think we had much to cheer on over there. But I remember it was a great tournament.
Yeah.
I think I was supporting Italy, who did well.
Yeah, well, there's nothing like waking up at stupid o'clock in the morning and going to the pub, being around your friends and your mates, and just everyone else is still sleeping and watching games and stuff like that. For sure, there's something kind of special about that. I wear it as a badge of honor, and people who don't understand what we do, they're like, I'm like, yeah, I'll get up and watch a game anytime if I have a passion for it, which is great.
But looking back, I noticed a lot of players, British players, when they were reaching the end of their career, going back decades, ended up playing in North America.
Yeah.
You can go back and research that, and it's fascinating. Some of these old players in the 80s and early 90s were retiring in North America. They were playing their final games over in the States. So there's always been something there that was of interest. Is it financial, or is it just the growing market? And obviously, even now, when Wayne Rooney went over to America, Gerrard, it's Messi over there, I believe. It's always been an attraction.
Well, I think that there definitely is an attraction, probably for the money and coming over to the States. I understand that. The Miami thing that's happening right now with Messi, which is pretty phenomenal, basically like Barcelona light from several years ago, and they're all in their mid-30s. Beckham coming over, Zlatan coming over. But I think there's an evolution that's happening right now for the MLS. It's not quite there yet, because I think that's in the States they have franchises. No one wants to get quote unquote relegated, which I think is the best thing that could ever happen to sport. But yeah, now we're getting younger talent here too as well from South America, from Middle America and East and West Coast too are also their talent is also coming in America too. But South American talent's coming up here first, and then they're going over to Europe. So, and Rob and Ryan have definitely invested in, I think, a Colombian side and Nexcaca and Mexico as well.
Yeah,
so there's something happening there too.
When you saw that they were interested in the club, right, or at the beginning of their takeover, what were your thoughts? Do you think this is going to be a fun ride? Is it going to be serious? What were your initial thoughts?
So obviously I don't have the at the time. I did not have the history of what everyone went through in the town of Wrexham. So it's more been an evolution at this point from the knowledge from doing the show and learning more. And I at the time I was like, wait a minute, they bought a football. What? Okay. And I said to my wife Anne, who works with Ryan in the industry, I was like, do you know about this? She did know about it. And then you have Rob, who I've admired. I was like, these guys are living literally my dream. I was like, to own a football club is great. So I had thought that. Listen, I think everyone's skeptical at times, and everyone probably was too, until proven otherwise, which is just sometimes the nature of life. Skeptical is like, can they pull it off? And I think it's only hindsight that you say, hey, they put their money where their mouth is. We got out of the National League. Yeah, it took twice to get there. We've invested in money to get in the club. They're investing in the town. The Allen family just came in. So I think it's like you just don't know. And I always talk about, like, you're telling a story, and there's a string, and there's little pearls of the story. And along the way, those pearls have come to fruition. It's like, okay, that's a great little moment right there. That's a great moment there. And I think the story is being told, and I think you don't know only till hindsight right now. It has the magic. It literally has the magic. And knowing that, you just never know what's going to happen. But it has a magic touch to it, and I don't think anyone else can touch it.
I think initially everyone was so excited because we felt, well, what can go wrong? Will benefits in some way. Mm-hmm. There's always a risk that it will lose its heart and soul going to overseas owners, mm-hmm. and maybe very celebrities who might mm-hmm. not understand the club and the football in general, and they might not understand the town. Certainly, they might lose some heart and soul, but the exposure it would generate, the interest, it was always worth a risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take the punt on it too. Me knowing, like, the people that have worked with Rob, and like I said, my wife works with Ryan on some capacity. Knowing the type of people they are, I was like, okay, they could do a lot of good work here. And yes, you always have to win on the pitch, but off the pitch, I think it's just as important too. And I understand, going in, like, you could be skeptical, but you got to go along for the ride. And the benefit is there too. And even like with the cop coming, I mean, that's going to be amazing, an absolute amazing feat that's coming. I understand there's a little bit of like growing pains that'll happen, ticket prices and things like that. But I think the core values are always going to stay there.
Well, I think, as you just mentioned, ticket prices, it's inevitable. Costs will, this has to be paid for in the end. They can't just give their money away. It has to become self-reliant. And obviously, as success grows, mm-hmm. the value increases in the club, the value going to watch a game. So people are prepared, I think, to pay the prices. But we understand, that most of us, that, the game is going to cost more because it has
mm-hmm.
to be paid for. Yeah,
you got to pay for it somehow, and I think there is a balance that will be had, and it will figure itself out. Like I said, that's not my job to do the finances or anything, but keeping everyone happy, I don't know if that's possible either. But it'll find itself, it'll work itself, and I think we're on a great journey, absolutely on a great journey.
And they hit the ground running, didn't they? It didn't take long for them to get promoted. They challenged straight away. The mm-hmm. first season we finished second. Mm-hmm. Reached a final as well. So success came very quickly, because mm-hmm. I think you need more than money, and they mm-hmm. employed the right people. They knew they didn't understand football. They knew what they didn't know, and they employed footballing people from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Openly said that too. We only know we're going to hire people that know more than us, which I think sometimes, and I'll say this in certain ways, is amazing. Understand what you know, understand what you don't know. Hire people that know more about X, Y, and Z to push things forward. And it's okay to learn and evolve and grow yourself, because you're going to learn from those people that know how, that know football, like I said, know the strategies and things like that. And I think both of them, I think they said in their opening statement, we don't know anything. We're going to hire people that do. And taking that, I know everyone gets a bad stick with working in Hollywood, Los Angeles. I've been here 22 years and worked in the industry. I understand that. But these guys, I think, have put their money where their mouth is and said, like, hey, listen, we're going to bring people in that know more than us. And until proven otherwise, without the success, then we'll see. And yes, there are going to be tough times. Yes, we have had almost immediate success. We could go back to back, but the challenges we seem to be stepping up to, which is why, going back to the original question, bringing new players in January, getting to the evolution of this team, I think we're in the middle of that too for the club as a whole. We're battling on so many fronts on and off the pitch.
Yeah, I think people just want to see how far we can take it. This is the time they wanted to take risks in January. Go out and buy the best players. You can't spend the money. we're so close to another promotion. The time is now. Don't have regrets.
Yeah. Don't look back. It's funny because, you obviously said Rob was always like, let's go. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And then Humphrey was like, it's temperate. And then they get to the point where we're sitting in third. We might not get this other opportunity. We should go and do this. The investment to do that would be great, because if we do go up, the financial investment will just be a wash. But I believe wholeheartedly that number 2 spot could be ours.
I think it should be. I think it'd be very disappointing to miss out on that.
Yeah.
Because I look at it and I think we really should be the strongest team. We've been, arguably the third most. We're up there. Wickham have been impressive, but they're struggling lately. They're there for the taking. And I think overall we should be stronger than Wickham.
Yeah. We should be. And bringing in 10 players in January. They kept Kone, who didn't play yesterday. He wasn't even on the bench. Got them going on there. But I think it goes back to so I'd said before the January transfer window, I thought it's like he's not going to make any moves. And I was happy to be wrong that he did, because I thought the core team was there. But then adding the additions, he knew. Yeah, he knew. He always knew, which is about getting those right people in, valuing the market, things like that. But I think the core of the team and what it's about and what Parkinson's about and what he instills in the side, I think is what is going to be the difference for us. We might not be the sexiest football team out there, kicking it around, but I think we do other things very, very well. They didn't almost impose ourselves like we're going to win the game.
Yeah, yesterday wasn't the greatest performance, wasn't the greatest game. Didn't have to be. Northampton were poor, really, and we were well in control throughout. A direct goal, 2 quick goals helped, I think, in quick early on. 2 quick goals killed the game. They couldn't get into it, but also the first goal being very direct. Sometimes that's what you need. We do try and play football sometimes, but we do keep the ball a bit too much.
I agree with you. Too. It's like we have different. We have different ways of winning. In the game before that, it brings on 4 players at 25 minutes to go. He's like, just go win the game. To go do it. We did that. But Parkinson, we have the players and the talent to do it. He does go a little bit risk averse, and I understand why, because we never let a game get away from us. We're never down 4 or 5. We never let a game get away from, which I think is, he'd rather, just kind of like, okay, let's work our way through it. We start a little slow sometimes. Obviously, we watch every game, but our talent comes through. The coaching comes through, and we usually end up on the right side of it, which in a W or 3 points. So we haven't had that real dip in form. Touch wood. But the recovery is always there, and we showed last year, and we have great talent to do so.
Well, it's not only been this time of the season where we've kicked on. I think the form has been a bit ropey the last month. There are some draws in there, some defeats, but I think we've passed that now.
Yeah.
But it's always roughly it's this time of the year that we kick on. I think the last 3 seasons or so, we've really kicked on from February.
Yeah, last season, remember, Evans came back, Statch came back, O'Connor came back, and it was like, okay, we needed those guys, because when they were out, we had a little bit dip in form. You're right. This is where it's like, okay, bootstraps up, let's go. We're gonna go do business, and it's down. Like almost every game's like, not to put pressure on them. Like it's like a cup final for us, and not at that extent, but we got to go win football matches, and whatever else happens around us. I always say this too. It's like everyone's gonna Birmingham City gonna win games. Wickham we're gonna lose games, but we have to just go on the pitch and do our business. And I think that is the most important thing. What we can do is just go do our business. Exactly what you were just saying. Last year, we just went and did our business. Away form wasn't great. F it. Let's go do our business. And I think that's important too. 2 wins away on the bounce, which is great. Away form, yeah. So
I didn't go yesterday. I was at Crawley. Yeah, again, not a great performance, but we got the win in the end at Crawley. As you say, he likes to be solid, Parkinson. He likes to be organized. He's a risk averse, doesn't like to take too many risks, likes to keep it simple, solid, be hard to beat. It's not great to watch sometimes, and he can be very stubborn in his approach.
But his stubbornness, it will, like I said, going and watching the games and it might help us out in the end. And you're right, 3 points. For us, I want to go up. I watch the games like you do, and I kick every ball. But like at the end of the day, if it's 3 points, awesome. We can talk about that later. We do that in post. But let's get those 3 points in. And a lot of people do. I think he knows this league so well. Even in the interview yesterday, he said, you know, he looked at Leighton, had someone go watch Leighton Orient the other day, which, you know, everyone else would do. But he's doing he's already thinking about the next match. But I'm very, very impressed. I'm very, very impressed with what he's doing.
Yeah, well, the consistency, you know, of 3 or 4 seasons now, it's just remarkable to be in the top 3, 4 seasons in a row. You know, that's remarkable.
It is, and everyone again, we're allowed to be critical at times, but like you just said, top 4 and top couple in the last 4 seasons, just top of the league, and thereabouts. That's not a mistake. That's not a fluke. I think, like you said, everyone's like waiting for the fail. Everyone's just like waiting for it to happen. You know what? And if it comes at some point, but it ain't going to be now. It's just not going to be now. But that's part of the process. That's part of our story, what we're doing.
And what would be a fail? Relegation or just stagnating in League One? Being stable in League One is not failure from my perspective.
I agree with you. Yeah. I don't think I guess a fail would be if, for lack of a better word, we go back down to leagues and get relegated back to the net. But that's not going to happen. Once you get a good base in you, you know, and you put the foundation in, which is what I think we're doing while progressing. Not that it's not possible, but the failures, I don't think it's even in the cards. I could be totally wrong, but I don't think it's in the cards because I think we're doing things the right way now.
And you look at the teams we're above, and even beating Bolton in the cup. I know it's a different situation with squads and rotating players, but that's a big win against a massive club. We drew there in the league, which was very impressive. Bolton are a top 40, top 50 club in this country.
Yeah.
And a lot of these teams played in the Premier League quite recently. Charlton, your Readings, I think Barnsley at one point were there. I mean, we're above these teams and competing with them.
Yeah, and that shows the skill of, you know, bringing in good talent. And Parkinson, you know, like I said, whatever his management style is, these are all big clubs. You know these clubs. You know the Boltons. And you're right, we did draw a Bolton early on, and we got that point away at home. Which was it a 0-0? Or I think it was a 0-0, right?
0-0 it was, yes.
Yeah, but we did what we had to do, right? And in the Virtue Trophy Cup, which I call the Jimmy Bag of Donuts Cup, it's like he used some other players. Mo got on, you know, things like that. AO was in there playing. We got players that needed time and minutes because we're gonna have to grow and evolve those players too while we're going through the season because we will need them at some point. But you're right; these are big clubs. But I don't think he plays the badge. I think he plays the game. You know, he doesn't play Parkinson doesn't play the moment or the occasion. He does just play the game that's in front of him, which I think is very, very important too. But I'm happy that, you know, we're one game away. We still have to get through Posh to go do that.
I think with Darren Ferguson, obviously the history there, but we should beat them. As I said, I'd be very disappointed, especially at the racecourse. If you're away from home, fair enough. Fair enough. It's a different scenario, but at home, we're so solid at home, and we should be winning our home games.
Yeah. And unbelievable support home and away. Yeah, you know, I don't know if you travel home and away, but the support, I hear it in my ear every single week, every game match day. I'm like, yep, we've arrived. You know, and that's an extra, you know, 2, 3, 4% to the players on the pitch. So fair play to all of you. It's awesome.
Well, to be fair, we've had a few trips to Wembley in recent years. We haven't gone short, reaching finals.
Yeah,
mixed fortunes, I should say, to say the least. But the whole town will go. They'll bring people who don't, because it's difficult to get tickets now. More tickets will be available. It's 80,000 seater. So I think we'll have an allocation of 30,000. And you'll get lots of families going, lots of people who don't have chance to go into league games because it's sold out. The town will bring about 20,000. There'll be a lot of people going.
That's amazing. Like you can't. That feeling must be. We got to get there first, obviously. Yeah. And you know, if we go, I might maybe think about flying over. We'll see. But that's the support that you know. By the way, just say this: it doesn't matter. Like League One, Championship, League Two, like it doesn't matter. You cannot make this up. It's such a good experience what we're doing. And long may it continue. I would say long may this continue.
This is why I think you should take the FA Cup a bit more seriously and the League Cup, because I went to the Harrogate game and that was a poor performance. they weren't really interested. There was no real desire there. The League Cup against Sheffield United, I believe he dropped players, didn't play the strongest team, focusing on the league at that early stage. But a cup run, I think, breeds success. It's exciting, it's interesting, and it can help your season in the league. I don't think it's an hindrance to the league form. I think it can help league form.
And I said this earlier. It's like, let's get out of this and let's focus on the league. And I was happy to be wrong. It's like, you know what? We got to a certain point. I'm like, you know what? This could help us out. And I realized why it could if we get to Wembley, right? And God forbid we do get into the playoffs, as I said earlier, it'll help us out because it'll train it. We'll get those calluses. We'll train us mentally to go, what's going to be like in a big game if we have to get into the playoffs, you know? So I think it is important. And a cup run is good for everybody. But I just want us to go up. I think at the time I was thinking we weren't gonna sign anybody, and that was my mindset. And like I said, happy to be wrong at any cost. But he did. We cut out FA Cup real quick, and Carabao. But it is what it is. You know, it's part of the story.
If we do lose, is that a setback? If we do lose the semi-final against Peterborough, could that have a negative impact, do you think?
It depends on how we lose, I would say. Depends on if we go for it and you know, he puts out his best 11 and we just don't show up. I think Posh are in a relegation battle. I don't think they're focused on this too, but they are the holders. But negative, I think this team has no matter what happens, win or lose, I think this team bounces back. When we lose, this team bounces back always. So I don't think it'll be a negative. I think we're going to move on to the league. And I think that's Parkinson's job to be like, okay, that's done. Moving on. Now let's focus on the league if that happens, you know? So it's a free hit. I think it's a free hit.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully if it did, you know, worst comes to the worst, it can be acted as an inspiration.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Don't poke the bear, you know, don't poke the red dragon.
But going back to the signings, do you think there's enough strikers at this club that we didn't need extra strikers? There should be enough strikers of quality doing the business. There's enough at the club already. Or do we need that backup?
It was weird because we had a lot of strikers, right? Before we made the last two strikers. And Ryan Longman, by the way. Just I know he's on a striker, but the wing. We had a lot of strikers, but not the right ones, in my opinion. I think we've been hit by an injury bug up front, back, all over the pitch. JM going down, it's like that just didn't happen. You know, like he was on fire, fit and flying. Fletcher can't play 90 minutes. When he does, his knee might swell up, or you have Palmer, who, listen, does a job. I call him like a utility striker. He does a job, but hasn't scored goals, but did in the past. So, couldn't put in the ball in the back of the net for whatever reason, but as an amazing, defensive player and supposed to knock balls down with Mullen. Mullen, unfortunately, didn't hit the ground running. And then Mofal, not quite there yet. And then Dalby just, didn't sign and we let him go. So with all that said, I think we needed to go in the market. And I think that it was like, it doesn't happen. You know, that's how difficult the January transfer was. You don't get not one player that can change the landscape of the strike force, but we got two. And they're starting for us now. That never happens. So I think we needed to do it. I think Parkinson knew it. And JM coming back, and I think he's going to be our third guy, and Fletch playing, 20, 30 minutes, I think it's going to be an impact. So I think we needed to do it, even if we didn't even realize it, having six strikers that, for lack of a better word, and I hate to say this, weren't performing.
Yeah. But obviously Smith, a player who was in form, I think
11 goals.
He was fourth, he might still be, but he was fourth top goal scorer in the league with 11 goals when we signed him. He now has 12 goals. Yeah. That's very impressive. He was in form. He was active. He was, on fire. He was ready to go, wasn't he?
Yeah. Just hit the ground running. Didn't score. Almost scored in his debut. So did J-Rod. But hit the ground running. The goal he put in, the other day, yesterday, I don't know what day it is. Yesterday was class. He just took it nice, got shoved in the back, still kept his balance up and did it. You're right. He had 11 goals coming in against Reading. And, I said this, thank you, Reading. I know what you guys are going through, and I really feel bad, but thank you. Yeah. He's going to help us go to the next level.
I know their manager was very unhappy about it. He was told no one was going, but again, Smith couldn't turn it down, he said.
No.
And neither could Reading. The money for Reading was too good, and the opportunity for Smith was too good.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. Like I know it sucks, but thank you. And I feel we have a Reading supporter that comes on the show, and he's got his own Reading away days. It's great, but he was like, we're gutted to see him go, and it's unfortunately, sadly, that's football. I don't know. The £2 million won't go back, and I know they have a restriction, but it'll go back and maybe to pay bills. But it's good for us and bad for them. But Smith is a talented player, very, very talented.
It's a great bit of business. I think didn't quite see it coming.
Oh.
It wasn't somebody referred to or rumored.
Mm-hmm.
But again, a great bit of business to buy a striker in form at his peak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can get him service, which I think is maybe part of the problem. I think we can agree part of the problem getting service into our strikers. We can get him service. He's going to score goals. If he scores another 10, let's say he scores 10, right? Let's say he does 11 for this half of the season for us. We are in. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. And you can't be. It's a great bit of business. It was like we're about the Michael Smith from Sheffield Wednesday or whatever we were doing. Him coming in, it's like this is great. This is absolutely great.
And the recruitment has always been very good. I keep saying this, and I'll continue to say it because not many bogus signings or duff signings have always done really well with their recruitment.
Mm-hmm. And not always spending money too, getting guys on a free. Matty James, but Vartan didn't work out, but. On a free, it sounds they really have their recruiting like out there, finding good talent. Not the £2 million, what we spent, whatever it turns out to be for Smith, fine. That's a whole different story. But everyone else that's come in has been fantastic. I think they've done great business. It's not like, and if Birmingham City spend 15 M's on Stansfield, that's fine. That's just not what we did, and I think we did really, really good business. For the future.
And we're breaking our transfer record multiple times in recent years. I think Joey Jones held the record for decades until Ollie Palmer, I think, took it. And he was bought for like 300,000.
Yep.
And then I think Fal $500,000 or someone else for $500,000 or close to it. There's been a few times this transfer record has been broken, and now Smith, I think, has taken it to a new level. He's quadrupled the previous one, I think.
Yeah. But you pay a premium for a striker, especially in January too. Ollie Rathbone, who's been, I think, probably one of the players of the season. I think it was 500, 600. But he was like, I don't know much about him, but I call him the hummingbird because he never stops. He's just he's
the best player at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, he's so good, right? So good. Yeah.
And he's getting a fair amount of goals, which is what you need from someone in that position. He's chipping in on a regular basis.
Yeah, and now with Big L going down, like having a car accident. Like Parkinson came out today and said it's not going to be a Thailand when he's back, and we need a guy like Cannon to step up. We have depth, and and again, shrewd signings, but not like extraordinary. Not going. Like I said, I take the Smith out of it. Whatever it is, I don't matter. 500,000-600,000, awesome. Be smart with it. I think we have been very, very smart with our signings. Ravon, who's getting up, should get more opportunities. But
yes, very, very lively, very, very fast and exciting.
Yeah,
because Barnett was kind of the star player first half of the season, wasn't he? And you don't want to be relying on players too much. I think people were starting to work him out. He was getting a lot of attention from opposition who were putting players on him, and you don't become too predictable. And it's nice to have it with Lee last year, perhaps, or the year before. You don't rely on too many players. You need options and people to come in and step up.
Yeah, even if Max having 6 or 7 goals, whatever it is.
Yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic young talent. I think you're right with Barney, though. You could tell in the last few weeks, we figured him out. 2 men on him, holding the ball too much. Knows that Longman's in there, but Barney's been fantastic. He scored goals this season. Great crosses in point. No one crosses the ball like him. I haven't seen anyone cross the ball like him since, I don't want to say Beckham, but he is the best crosser of the ball, probably one for sure.
Is Parkinson the most important guy at that club, do you think? If and when he goes, does that when it starts to unravel? Is it going to be hard to replace him and hold it together?
I think I think Parkinson is insanely important right now. Will it unravel? No, that's what I meant to say. I think that he will get us to a point where, he feels comfortable, the club feels comfortable, and I think there will be a mutual, and then there'll be a statue up there, and we'll be in the championship this year or next year, 100%. I believe it, and it'll be because of him. I think at some point there'll be a mutual like, okay, not because we're doing poorly or whatever. I think it'll come to that. I think there's a mutual respect there. He's on a rolling contract, yearly contract, right?
Yeah,
Is that correct? I think at some point it'll come to that, and I don't think it'll get messy. I don't see that happening where it's like, oh, get Parkey out, all this, we're relegation battle, because I don't think that's in the nature of the current Wrexham makeup of how the club is run. I could be wrong, but that's my Hollywood storybook ending for it.
Well, I have to laugh because I hear so many people complain about him time and time again. Certainly when there's a setback. Certainly when there's a setback, he's got to go. I've had so much overreaction to me in work and out and about. And, he's got to go. He's got to go because they've lost the previous night or something. It's the emotions get high and people do overreact. But Parkey has always been someone easily to criticize, even though he's been so successful.
Yeah, it's almost like it's an easy target, and I get it. Trust me, I always say like never get too high, never get too low. I might react on something like, but I'm never like, oh, he's terrible. I understand, because we're so fickle. I mean, minute by minute, we're just like, he's great, he's terrible. Why is he doing that? You question everything. But he's been fantastic. I had an opportunity to meet him and talk to him for 45 minutes. Like, I'll run through Wallace for you, like 100%. Like right now at 45, let's do it. So. But it's when you're successful, people want to take you down in anything, and I think he's such an important he's in the storybook for Wrexham, and good on him. But I think at some point, if you talk about when it'll happen, I think it'll be a mutual at some point. That's what I don't think it's because we're going to get relegated and he's like, get him out. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but that's it.
He's been here a long time. It's his 4th season. 5 or 6 years is generally the norm. Not many people go on beyond 10. You've got exceptional cases, of course, but he's coming to roughly the average, I think. I think, but he's safe. He's safe no matter what. I think he could survive a relegation if he deserves that chance. I think. Yeah,
he's earned it for sure. I agree with that 100%. He's earned a bad run or a tough streak. I think we're gonna go up next year, and I think that'll be the year where we're gonna readjust, and that'll be whatever we're going to do. I don't think we'll get relegated, but I think next year will be the tough year if we go up. But we have money to spend, and he is a great manager, and I think we'll bring players in. So, but again, we haven't told that part of the story yet.
But in the Championship, it's going to be a different world, and I think we all realise that. And we say this every year recently: just stay up mid-table, or we keep surpassing that expectation, don't we? So we want more. But I think certainly if we do reach the Championship, it's just for God's sake, enjoy it. It's a different world. If we survive, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But don't be too unhappy if it goes wrong.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Like the Championship is the toughest league. Like we could get smacked up every week or win 5-0, lose 5-0, whatever. But I currently right now, let's just get out of this league. I think we can do it. We might not get this opportunity again. You never know. I mean, football is, highs and lows, swings and roundabouts, all this. But if we can get out of this league, I'll be so happy. And part of me, I know it's going to be painful. Like if we do go into the playoffs and we have to, I hope we go up. Like it'll be torture, but also amazing. And that's what has to happen. That's what has to happen. But let's just get out of this league and let's go.
We're due success in the playoffs. We're due to go through by the playoffs at some point. Surely it can't happen again. Just before you go, I just want to touch again on some things happening off the pitch. You mentioned the cop earlier. What do you think of that new design? Which did you prefer, the old one or this latest one?
I preferred the old one, but that's just me. I thought it looked kind of cool. I think the new one is going to be brilliant. Obviously, it's just sketches. Taking all of that aside, how lucky are we to get a new cop? How lucky? Town, whatever it looks like, people talk about bricks and all this crap. Like, how lucky are we? But if I'm going to be honest, I like the black one better. It was the black with the outside brown.
More conventional, I think. Neater, more conventional. This is a bit more unusual, but the work they put into it, again, the references to the local industry, is the brickwork, and it's going to go heavy on referencing the town's history and the community, and the facilities are going to be through the roof, I believe. A-stars.
It's going to be amazing. Populous have done a great job on everything else that they've done, and both will be fine. Whatever they build, I think we should celebrate it. And all the other noise, the petition, whatever, it's just, you know what, that's just, people just pissing into the wind for themselves. But I think the new one it'll look beautiful when it's done. And then we should be very, very grateful. What other League One team is building a comp like that right now? And bringing stuff to the community. Not many, if any.
And the whole area is going to be regenerated, which will look so impressive when it's done. And it was a great move to bring in that temporary stand. That was a bold, smart move, and it's been a success.
Yeah, huge. I mean, yes, it's cold, but you get to have another 5,500 people in there watching the match. Bringing income in, enjoying it with their families, things like that. Watching amazing games. When Foz saved that Nottingham Forest, Notts County, it went into the cup. There was nothing behind there. Imagine those fans right behind Foz saving that when getting out of the National League. I mean, think about that. But that's again part of this story. I said Nottingham Forest, Notts County, yes. But that's amazing.
And also there's some talk. Michael Williamson has come out. There's an article in the Leader this week about the new training academy, the new training ground is essential for Wrexham. They need their own training pitch and training ground.
Yeah, to attract players that they want to get recovery, having training and everything. I think it's very, very important. Again, I think we mentioned earlier, we are battling on more fronts on and off the pitch, and we're not always going to get everything right, but I think we're trying to do the right things. And it's the evolution of the club. And once we get that in order, we'll be fine. And it's not going to be easy. There's going to be setbacks with, maybe one step back to go two steps forward. But Michael Williamson, I know, has caught a lot of stick, especially some of the community. But the guy is, his intentions, in my opinion, from armchair, I think they're all good. So let's take it, and if we can get that done, they're searching for grounds. Awesome. There's what do we really have to complain about other than everything?
It's so important to have that infrastructure in place, and that's what they tried to do from the beginning. Is not just on the pitch, it's in the infrastructure. They've rebuilt the club from the foundations, facilities, everything behind the scenes. They've tried their best to improve the infrastructure. But this is a key factor, the training ground and the COP. They're the two that are missing.
Yeah. Yep. And let's see what they do. I know words or vaporware is out there too, but you're right. Sometimes you got to tear it down to build back up. And I feel like we're in the midst of all that. But these are key things: training ground, the COP, things getting in order. I agree with that 100%. You need good facilities to attract good players, for people to recover. All those things come into factor. And I'm still in the mindset. Let's see what they do, and I think I'm trying to be positive about it. Not trying, I am positive about it. And until I'm proved otherwise, you're right, it all goes to pot. Like, let's enjoy it, because not a lot of clubs are enjoying what we're doing on and off the pitch. And we're very, very special. Very, very special.
And before you go, who's impressing you this season? Who you a fan of? Who you really, really impressed? You mentioned a few players, but who would you say your favorite player is this year? Who's the player of the season so far?
I think Ollie Rathbone's. I think Ollie Rathbone has really impressed me a lot. Barney's done fantastic, but Ollie Rathbone to me has come in, and I think he's secondly to that is Dobson. Dobson, beginning of the year, I was like, absolute bruiser, awesome. But Ollie Rathbone has been, since he's gotten to the side, has been fantastic. And scores goals. Breaks up play, goes and puts himself about, puts a shift 100. He is everything that Wrexham is about on the pitch, from what I've seen, and he just started. And there's a lot of great talent, like Brunty, I think, is coming in, done very, very well. But I think Rathbone for me has been the player. I was like, God, he expresses everything that Wrexham are about, and it's a great signing. So him for me, for sure.
And are we going to get promoted?
Yes.
How? Yes, and how?
It's the recording, right? I think we're going to get that second spot. I think we're going to get that second spot. I do. I feel like we're going to get that second spot. I feel like these new players, the three players that have come in, the shape of the team has changed completely. And I think we're going to kick on right now. And I think, like you said, we're just going to turn that switch. We're going to be like over the top, it's like turn the switch. Here we go.
Yes. I think great film, yes. Lincoln Hawks, yeah.
We're gonna Lincoln Hawk it up, yes. Like I'm like a truck, I just turn a switch.
Right.
There you go.
That's what we need, and I feel we'll power through.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Now I gotta go watch. I gotta watch Over the Top.
It's a cracking film, isn't it? One of my growing up, I used to watch it all the time. And then me and my brother trying to arm wrestle each other on the carpets.
Oh, so good. Absolutely. Awesome.
Okay, thank you so much for this, Josh. I really do appreciate it, and we'll do it again sometime. Josh Anthony from the Local Pundit. Check out his channel and his content. Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.